Kris, when you say fifth generation assets, what are you referring to?
The U.S. has the F-35, a fifth-generation stealth air fighter. The F-22 is also the fastest in the world, many believe. It's considered fifth generation as well. It means they're stealthy. The F-35 is multi-role, meaning it can perform ISR, drone-like surveillance, as well as even close air support with its 25-millimeter cannon, and then, of course, has the speed and the precision air attack sufficient to go against and defeat enemy air defenses. At least that's the thinking. Now, China has in recent years sought to match the U.S. fifth-generation superiority with two aircraft. One is the J-20. That's been around for a little while. That is a stealth aircraft believed to be fifth generation. The big question is, how sophisticated are the mission systems, the computing, the fire control, the weapons? That's really the largest margin of difference. And I have no idea if it's in any way comparable to the point where it could challenge a U.S. F-35, which is widely believed and understood, certainly by many in the Western world, as one of the most advanced, capable fighters in the world.
Does our military have an idea to that question of how is that sort of an unknown? We don't know how sophisticated their systems are.
As far as the internal avionics and computing, I wouldn't have any idea.
No, I'm saying, does our military have an idea, or is that something we probably don't know either?
I don't know. It might. It certainly would make sense to me if there were an understanding of that, given it's the information warfare, the speed of processing information, finding and eliminating targets before you yourself are seen, is the whole premise upon multi-domain warfare and information-driven future war. The four-star Army commander of Army Futures Command told me they all anticipate the future battlefield to be hyperactive. So speed of information flow is really the paradigm-changing element of what's being emphasized at the Pentagon. So China also has the J-31, and they're developing a carrier-launched variant. That, by any just observer's eye, looks like an F-35 ripoff. And so there's a lot of concern that several years after a really successful U.S. platform emerges, sure enough, something from China emerges several years later that has some similarities. Nonetheless, the J-31 is a carrier-launched variant. They only have two carriers. They can't launch them from amphibs because they're not vertical takeoff. The U.S. Navy and the Royal Navy and other allies have the F-35B, which is a vertical takeoff and landing fifth-generation aircraft, which you can deploy from an amphib. So not only will you have carriers, but you can also have numerous amphibs. USS America, the first-in-class next-generation amphibious assault ship, is already deployed with as many as 13 F-35s on board. So if you can put that kind of fifth-generation air power in spades and mass, because mass still matters. Many talk about Sun Tzu, and despite all the technology, you're going to need numbers in the air to maintain and establish that superiority. It's that fifth-generation margin of difference. The Chinese don't have, at least as far as I know, any kind of vertical takeoff fifth-generation plane. And their J-31, which is nascent pretty early on, is a carrier-launched aircraft, but there's no indication that could compete with an F-22 or an F-35.